guys, this is Christy Fulk from Create with Christy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US. It's time to stamp with me again, and I'm really excited to make this card with you today. Now, I know most of you don't have the Jar of Flowers bundle yet, which is what I'm using to make this card. If you do have it, it's because you're a demonstrator, and I'm happy to stamp with you too. But if you're a customer, you'll have to wait till June 3rd to be able to get this bundle. So right now you can watch the video, and if you like the card and want to get this bundle and make it later, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. That's the like button. That way this video will be put in your liked videos list, and you'll be able to find it more easily once you get the bundle. And I'm also making a shaker card, as you can see. Isn't that, oh, I love it. It makes it super easy with the new mason jar shaker domes. And the little gems inside are really cute. And all of these things I've named off so far are from the Flowers for Every Season suite. Love this suite. I'm going to be using the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set that's also in the suite. And I'll be using some other items too, and I'll show you here in a minute. So are you ready to start stamping with me? Okay, let's go. Okay, now if you're wanting to make the card with me, I'm going to show you all the supplies quick, and then make sure you pause the video after I show you everything, then you can get your supplies together and come back and make the card with me. Okay, the first three things I'm going to show you from the new catalog coming June 3rd. This is the Jar of Flowers bundle. Includes the stamp set and the jar punch. Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set. Mason jar shaker domes. Flowers for Every Season gems. Those are all the things from the new catalog, and there's some more new catalog stuff, but you can get these now. They're from the Ornate Garden Suite, and they're available now to purchase. This is the Ornate Floral embossing folder. It's a 3D folder. And the Ornate Borders dies. Okay, the next couple things I'm going to show you are retiring, and you've only got till June 2nd to get them, but they are while supplies last, so they could sell out before that. The Best Dress 6x6 Designer Series paper, and the Mint Macaron 1/8 inch sheer linen ribbon. So you want to get those soon before they sell out, or before June 2nd. The other things I'm going to use are current, and they are not retiring, unless I say otherwise. This is the Stitched Nested Labels dies, mini glue dots, adhesive. I'm using snail adhesive, which is retiring, so if you're watching this after June 3rd, you won't be able to get it anymore, but we will have new adhesive. It'll be actually even better than this, is what I'm told. I can't wait to get that. And then we've got the multi-purpose glue. And then you need your Tuxedo Black Memento pad, Pool Party ink pad, and Basic Gray ink pad. And then you need some blends. You're going to need Daffodil Delight blends, Lovely lipstick blends. These are retiring, but the last time I checked, they're still available, so you want to get those quick before they run out. You need the Mint Macaron blends. I'm only using the dark one this time. Old Olive Stampin' Blends and Petal Pink Stampin' Blends. Okay, now let's get the paper that you're going to need. You need Lovely Lipstick cardstock. This is retiring too. You'll need to get this real quick too. It's 8.5 by 5.5 inches. You need a piece of Petal Pink that's 4 inches by 5.25 inches. A piece of Mint Macaron that's 4 by 3.25 inch. And then you need some Whisper White. This is a 4 by 5.25 inch piece for the inside of the card. A 3.25 by 4.5 inch piece, a scrap piece of Whisper White, and a 3 inch by 3 inch piece of Whisper White. Then you need a 4 inch by 2 inch piece of the Best Dressed DSP. And then you need a 4 inch piece of the Mint Macaron linen ribbon, plus at least another 12 inch piece, maybe a little bigger. Okay, now that's everything you need to make the card, so go ahead and pause the video, get all your supplies together, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes. Okay, glad you're back. Now we're ready to start making this card. You need to grab your Petal Pink piece and your Ornate Floral embossing folder, and that's going to go inside here, so it's going to be embossed in your die cutting machine. You also want to grab your Mint Macaron piece. This is the one that we're going to be using the border dies with, and this is the die that you're going to need. And this one, you're just going to put it near the bottom like so, and put it through your die cutting machine this way. You don't want it to be going this way because it doesn't cut as well and it could hurt your die. Make sure it's going vertically. So you're going to line it up, center it, and that's going to go with your die cutting machine. And then you also need to grab your 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 inch piece of Whisper White. You're going to grab the largest die of the stitch nested labels. And this one, see these little corners right here? Actually, you want to line up the corners on the inside with the top of this piece, like so. So once you've got that lined up and straight, then you're going to run that through the Big Shot too. So that's all of the die cutting that you're going to do. So go ahead and get that done and come right back. Okay, done. Here it is embossed. Love that folder. And like I said, this is something you can get right now, the Ornate Floral 3D embossing folder. And this is from the Ornate Borders dies. I love that. Now, one trick you want to learn, you can see how I've still got a little cardstock in here. Later on, I'm going to poke all those out, because once those are out, it actually helps with the next cutting, and all of these little pieces come out with the die usually. So, I mean, every once in a while you might have a stray one, but if you still keep those in, then there will be more still attached to your die. So that's just a little thing you want to do. Every time you get done with this, I would hurry up. You can take your die brush too and get them all taken out real quick. And then this was that largest die. We've got that. I love doing it this way. Okay, the first thing you want to do now, let's go ahead and grab the DSP piece. And I'm going to grab my snail. I'm going to grab my silicone mat here. You don't have to have this, but I think it makes it easier that you don't get any adhesive where you don't want it, like your workspace. So, and if it gets on here, you can rub it off. It doesn't stick to it. So now that I've got some snail across the top of that, then I'm going to put this DSP piece across it, right above the image, or the die cut, the ornate part, I guess I should say, the die cut part. There we go. And now we've got this beautiful border. Isn't that cool? That is such a pretty border. So much easier. I think it's easier than using the punches, because those you have to keep lining it up. With the die, it's all the way across for you. And if you want to make it longer, you can go ahead, say I've got a longer piece here, you would just feel where the imprint is there, or where it was cut out already. It's already locked into place, and then you go and die cut the rest of it. So that's the way you can make a longer one. But this one's pretty long, so you probably won't need to for card. Scrapbook page, you probably would. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the multi-purpose glue. I'm going to put it like so. Make sure you get some glue on the border, but I would not put any on this ornate part. You don't need to worry about that. And we're going to put that on the top like so, get all lined up. And then hold it down and put some pressure to it so the glue takes hold. There we go. So we've got that ready to go. And put that to the side. Now we want to grab the label. Actually, we don't want to put that to the side yet. We are going to lay this down where we want it, and you're going to have to hold on to it. Let me angle it to me so I know I'm getting it in the right spot. So I'm getting it centered this way, but this needs to be right along the top edge of the card base, or card layer. So we've got that going. Now you grab the jar punch, and you're going to stick this all the way through. Make sure before you punch that this piece is still where you want it. And that looks pretty centered. Okay. Don't move it like I just did. Now I've got it right in place. You want to make this point be real close to the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect, but as close to the middle as you can. That looks pretty good, I think. I'm kind of at an angle. Now that that's all together, then you're going to punch this out. And I suggest keeping it down on the table like I've done, because you're going through 2 layers of cardstock. But that punched out pretty good. Now the first time I made this, it didn't punch out as easy. But that time it did a really good job. So you've got these pieces. You could even use this for another project. So we'll go ahead and put those over at the side. So now we've got that ready to go. That's going to be ready for your shaker card. So now let's go ahead and stamp this before we start putting it together. I'm going to grab the big floral image here and grab my Stampin' Pierce mat. Oh, and I have great news. They just told us this yesterday. They are bringing the Stampin' Pierce mat back. Right now it's not available. They're waiting for a supply to come in. But they decided they shouldn't have retired it, so it's been taken off the retired list. Once it gets is available. Again, I'll let you know. I'll post it on my Facebook page and my blog, and you can find the links to those down below in the video description. I'm just so glad this came back. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use it now, since you will eventually be able to purchase it again. And I highly suggest using it, especially when you use the photopolymer stamps, because they don't have any cushioning and they need that extra cushioning. So you're going to grab the Tuxedo Memento black ink pad. Make sure you get that inked up really well. And then you are going to line the bottom of your flowers with the top of this jar. Now you might end up cutting off the flowers just a little bit, but that is okay, because I think this one I'm going to cut off just a teeny bit, not much though, because I thought that looked a little better that way, because it makes it, it'll look just fine even if you cut a little bit off. There we go. So there's the flowers, and now we're going to color these in. I love how good that stamps. See, no smearing, that looks great. Okay, now we're gonna start coloring. I'll get the Pierce mat out of the way. I'm gonna be using my blends. And let's go ahead and start with the lovely lipstick. Grab your dark one first. And wherever you want, especially at the bottom, the base of these petals, I'm gonna make these dark, lovely lipstick. And see how I'm making them so they're jagged? Let me lift that up a little bit. I don't want this just to be a straight curve or a straight line. I want it to look jagged, so it will look a little more realistic once we get the shading in there. And go over it a few times because you want it to saturate the cardstock. So now we've got that. Now I'm going to bring in the light, lovely lipstick and color in everything, even coloring over the dark, because I want to blend those shades together where they meet, so it's not such a stark difference. Now, right now I've just done the one go over, and I think you can probably tell that's just still too much of a difference between the shades. So I'm going to go over where they meet a couple times, and just keep doing it till I get the shading that I want. That's the more you add, the more it blends together. See, that's much better. And I can just keep going. And if you ever blend too much, you can always go back and add some more dark. That's the neat thing about the blends. You just keep adding until it looks the way you want it to. Okay, so I'm going to do these two flowers the same way. Okay, now my lovely lipstick flowers are done. Now, I cheated a little bit on the video and sped it up so the video would be too long. So if you're still coloring, go ahead and pause the video, and when you're ready, you can come back and start with the next color. Okay, the next color I'm going to use is Petal Pink, and I'm going to color in this big flower and this little one right here with it. Now, the centers I want to be a yellow, so we're not going to color those in, but we'll go ahead and actually, let's go ahead and color the centers in now. We'll grab the dark Daffodil Delight. I'm just going to do a little bit right there on the ones that are a little larger centers. I'm just doing a little bit of the dark right in the middle. Now the little ones, I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole thing dark. I think those are all the centers. So the three lipstick flowers and the two that are going to be Petal Pink. Now I'm going to grab my light Daffodil Delight and color in the rest of those big centers. Okay, now the centers are all done. So now we'll go ahead and do the Petal Pink flowers. Once again, where you want it to be dark, which I want the base of the petals to be dark, I'm using my dark pink, Petal Pink. Would keep doing that flower and then go over it again with the light until the shading blends. Now the Petal Pink, you don't have to do as much blending. You just keep going until you've got these two flowers done. Okay, as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing a couple places I think I want to be a little darker. So I want to show you how easy this is. Just go ahead and a little more dark where you want it. That's looking pretty good. I don't know if the video's giving it justice, but that shading just looks so pretty on that. Okay, now we're going to do these little berries that are all over the place. And since they're so small, we're just going to use one shade. That's why I'm only using my dark mint macaron. And we'll go ahead and color all of these little berries in. Okay, all the berries are done. Now when you look at this, some of these that don't have leaves, probably your cattails, which could be a different color, but I decided to just keep them all mint macaron. Okay, now you want to grab your old olive. Grab that dark one again, and I'll just do one leaf real quick to show you a couple leaves. I just want to do that center part where that line is with the dark. Do a very light because I don't want this to push down too much. I want it to be a thin line. And you can also use the blunt tip if you're more comfortable with that. I find if I use a light touch that I can use the brush tip and get a really fine mark. And then you just go over to blend in the shading. So do all of the leaves that way. Now if they're too small, then you can decide if you want it to be the light or the dark, whichever you want to do. Like some of these stems, I'll probably end up doing those dark instead, because there's no way I can get 2 shades in that. So go ahead and start coloring the rest of your leaves. Okay, looks like I have all the leaves done. Now, see these sections here that are just black? There's really no opening. I didn't want those to stay black, so I'm just going to go ahead and scribble on them a little bit right over the lines with my green. Yes, it's outside of the black lines, but I think that gives it, I like having that color rather than just having it be black. So just go over them just a little bit so the color is coming outside of the black lines. And that makes them have this nice, pretty, kind of a fern-like look. Okay, all of the coloring is done. Now we're going to start doing the shaker card part. Okay, now we're ready to do the shaker part of the card. Grab your 3" by 3" piece of Whisper White, and then you want to grab the large jar. Now these are reversible. Now we're going to be using the side that has the lines on this one, and I'll show you the reversible part here with the next stamp. Take your Pool Party, going to ink this up, and get it as close to the center as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just helps when you line it up with the shaker card. There we go, we've got that ready. Now, this one is also reversible. This one has lines on it, but I don't want to use the line part on this one. I want to use the bold side on the other side. So I want it to be partially full of water, not completely. If I wanted to be a completely full jar, then I could turn this one over and it would fill in the whole jar and make it a Pool Party. But I'm just going to use the half one. Grab my Pool Party, get that inked up. Now I am going to stamp off because I want a lighter version of that. And then I'm going to line it up at the bottom, like so. There we go. Now we've got a partially filled jar. Isn't that cool? I love that. Okay, now there's another stamp here. They've thought of everything. I love how the flowers don't have stems. You notice that? So like if you wanted to put this on the bottom of the card, which I will show you, we'll be doing that with the inside of the card. But I do want stems with this one. So we've got a separate stem stamp. Make sure I say that so you understand what I'm saying. And then you're going to line the top of the stems with the top of the jar, like so. There we go, we've got our stems. Now I didn't get it all the way to the top, but that's going to be okay. You'll see why here in a minute. So you don't need to fret over that. Now I'm going to grab my dark old olive Stampin' Blend, and I'm going to color all of these stems in. Okay, we've got the stems all colored in. Now we are going to grab one of these really cool mason jar domes, shaker domes, that's the full name. Comes a pack of 10. And I love how there's paper backing here and paper backing here because there's adhesive on both sides. Makes it super easy when making a shaker card. Now I made a shaker card with the honeybee bundle in my last video, and if you want to see that, just click on the link above in the upper right corner or in the video description below. And that shows how you use it with the adhesive strips, which is easier than using dimensionals, but this makes it even easier. Love this. What I'm going to, and we also want to grab the Flowers for Every Season gems. Let me open this up so you can see how pretty those are. Aren't those neat? They are, some of them are smooth, some of them are faceted. It's just so pretty. I think it's the clear ones are more like water droplets, so they're smooth. And then the green, the mint macaron type ones are, or they might actually, I think it's just jade. Just jade. It actually looks okay with the, I didn't have just jade green in the designer series paper. That's why I went with macaron, but that's okay. So we've got those. Now I'm going to grab another couple more green ones in here. There we go. Takes out a white one because you don't need that many. So that looks really good. So you put those on there. Then you take the backing off the back of this. So this is the valley part. Comes off pretty easy too, which I love. Put that over to the side. Now, then since I have my gems in there, I'm going to line this up with my stamped jar. Just do it nice and slow. You don't have to go fast. I put it down lightly, and then when I know I've got it where I want it, then I push it down. So look at that. We've got that neat shaker. Isn't that neat? Okay, now we'll grab the card base, and we will put, no, that's okay. We can still do this part. Then we're going to take the paper backing off of this one, like so. There we go. Once it gets started, it's super easy. Then this is going to go right inside my little hole. You lay that down, push it down all the way around it so it gets attached. Now, wasn't that easy? So you've got this here in the back. Now, it looks like I'm okay. If any of the cardstock is hanging over, just clip that off. And I don't see any on this side, so I think I'm good. But if you have a little bit, you just trim it off with your scissors. So there, we've got that on. Now, before we attach this to the card, see how that goes on nice and easy? We want to put some ribbon across there. So grab your 4-inch piece of mint macaron ribbon. I'm going to grab my silicone mat again. I'm going to put some snail on each end of this ribbon. You can also put it on the back of the label piece if you want to. I'm going to wrap that around here. Okay, make sure it's nice and straight. Maybe bring it down just a little bit. There we go. So you've got your ribbon ends back there. Now I'm going to grab my multi-purpose glue. Glue all the way around it here. Make sure I get it around that little opening here with the jar, because you don't want that lifting up on you. See, the flowers look kind of cool on the other side. I like that. Okay, now it looks like I got a little glue that's a little too thick, so I'm going to go over it with the point of my glue bottle and bring it in a little bit so it doesn't come out the sides. I don't want that to happen. So anytime you do that, just kind of brush it a little bit and spread it on the inside. Now we'll bring this back in. Put this right over, get it lined up, make sure it's all straight. That's the nice thing about using the glue too. You can move stuff around if you need to, because it'll keep sliding until you push it down all the way. Now I'm going to push it down all the way. So that looks good. Now, wasn't that easy? I love it. So cute. Now, you're saying, but I can still tell that you didn't get the stems all the way up. Well, I thought this needed a mason jar. Now, we could have stamped the mason jar stamp right across our stamped jar, but I wanted to do it differently. Okay, grab your scrap piece of Whisper White and your mason jar lid stamp. Ink it up with basic gray ink pad. I'm gonna, I didn't ink that very well. That looks better. I'm gonna put it here on the end, because you'll see why here in a minute. We do not have a die or anything that die cuts this out, but to make it easier, you can just take this, line it up with the top of your mason jar, and that's gonna take care of all the harder parts of cutting. Like that. And then all you have to do is grab your scissors and cut this straight line from this curve here to this curve here. That helps you get that straight line too. So there we go. That's all you have to do to cut your mason jar out. So I'm going to take glue dots because I think these are going to stick better onto that jar. I'm going to put one on one end here. I think I'm going to put one on the middle just to be safe, because this is curved. The top of this is curved. And then put one on the end. So now I've got 3 on the back. As you can see, I made a boo-boo. That's okay. 2 sides to cardstock. Nobody knows the difference except you. Then you're going to put this on top of your jar. Make sure that it's lined. The top of it is lined up at the top of the jar lid. Get it centered. And then push it down, and it's going to curve. Now we've got our mason jar lid on there, and you can't tell that I didn't stamp the stems right at the top. I just thought it needed that mason jar lid. Okay, let's go ahead and put this on our card base. So grab your lovely lipstick, 8.5 by 5.5. And we'll fold this like so. Take your bone folder, get that ready. Grab your multi-purpose glue. Get it all the way, and make sure you get on that white too. Okay. Turn it around and center it, and we're almost done with the front of this. We're going to tie a bow. So if you've already cut it out, I said a 12-inch piece. I'm just going to grab my whole roll here so I don't waste any. Come down here, I'm going to make a little bow. I think it's easier to do it this way and put it on with the glue dot. Sometimes when I thread it under here, I can't get that bow straight for the life of me. So actually that's two. Let's go down a little bit farther. I wanted my tails to be a little bit longer. Tie your bow, play around with it till it looks the way you want it. That's not too bad. Get nice and tight. Grab your scissors, cut it off your ribbon. Grab, where did I put my glue dots? Oh, there they are. And I just put the knot of the bow directly on that mini glue dot. Pinch the glue dot a little bit because it's a little bigger than my knot since this is narrow ribbon. Put it on the center of your ribbon like so. Oh, that's a little too far over. There we go. A lot easier when you don't have a camera in the way. So I've got that on. Trim the ends off just a little bit. Oop, it twisted on me. Hold on a minute. Doesn't like to cut very well when it twists on you. Well, I can't get a hold of it. There we go. That looks pretty good. So now we've got the front done. So let's go ahead and do the inside of the card now. Okay, so grab your last piece of cardstock. It should be your 4 by 5.25 inch piece of Whisper White. Grab your flower stamp again. Ink it up with Memento. Now you could use the option of stamping it with Pool Party and not have to color it in. That would be fine too. But I decided I wanted to color this in. So I'm putting it right on here. See, that's why I like having the stems separate, because now I can just have the flowers there. And now I'm going to color all of these exactly like I did at the beginning. So go ahead and get all your Stampin' Blends back out and color just like you did at the front. And then I'll come back as soon as I'm done coloring. Okay, I've got it all colored in. Now grab my snail. So that, oh, I forgot, I do want to stamp a greeting. This is from that Celebrate Sunshine. And it says, thanks a bunch. I just thought that was perfect since we have a bunch of flowers. I did it with the basic gray. Now stamp it across the top here. Since there really wasn't any room to put a greeting on the front of the card, I wanted to make sure I had one on the inside. So there, now we've got the inside done. Now we want our snail. And grab your card base, open it up, and put that on the inside. Like so. There we go. That's the card. Well, I hope you had as much fun making this card as I did. I love shaker cards, and this one was so easy, and I think it's so pretty, and I love these flowers with this paper. And don't forget, this paper is the best Dress to Designer Series paper that is retiring. It's while supplies last until June 2nd, so make sure you get a hold of that quickly, because I think that would go really good with this bundle. If you enjoyed making the card just as much as I did and want to make more cards with me, make sure you subscribe to my channel below. In the bottom right corner, there's a little subscribe button. And also make sure to click the bell icon that pops up after that and select all. That way you'll be notified when I upload a video. And if you want to see more of my creations, you want to follow me on my blog at www.createwithchristy.com. I've also got a Facebook page, Pinterest, and Instagram, and all the links to those are down in the video description. If you live in the United States and don't have a Stampin' Up! Demo, I'd love to be yours. If you would like to have a new catalog mailed to you, click on the contact me link below in the description and I'll get one mailed out to you. And you can order from me 24/7 at my online store. I've got a link to that below. And make sure you use the host code, especially if your order is $50 or more. For the month of May 2020, I've got the host code there in the bottom left corner. If you use that with a $50 order, you will earn a doily and you get a $50 shopping spree from me once you collect 10 doilies. You can find out more about that, how all that works in the doily rewards link below in my description. Well, it's time to go. Would you please support my channel by giving me a thumbs up or commenting below? I really appreciate it. See you in the next video.